All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down UFC Vegas 97. So, yeah, it's been a week off. We had Contender Series last week. We had Contender Series this week. Did pretty well this week. Got a 2-unit win. Cashed 3 big dogs in a row. I did cash on Durden. I did cash on Santos, and I did cash on Co. I unfortunately also played the Clark over. So I broke even on that fight. I played the what was the other fight I broke even on? On the Austin Bashi fight, I had the over 1.5 and him by decision. The over 1.5 cashed by seconds, and then the decision lost. So broke even on that fight. But then the dogs came through with Santos and Co. So I came out with a small profit, 2 units. And now we're going to jump into this card. A ton of regionals. I'll briefly touch on it at the end of the video. I doubt I'm going to have time to cover all of them or anywhere close, but I'll talk about that when we get there. But we can jump into this card now. I think we have 12 fights now. It was originally 13, down to 12 because OSP appears to be out of that fight, which kind of sucks because I felt like that sub prop was just crazy. OSP by sub over Ryan Spann was plus 1,200. For what reason? That's a crazy line. I'm sad that it's canceled. Maybe they'll rebook and I can get the same line. Probably not. And maybe it's for the best. But all right. First fight of the night, real quick. Let me catch up with the chat. What's up, fellas? Thank you for tuning in. All right. We got Zygimantas Ramaska versus Nathan Fletcher. Ramaska's 9-2-0, 27, 5'11" with a 71-inch reach. Fletcher 8-1-0. He's going to be 26. He's 5'7", so he's going to be 4 inches shorter, and he's got a 70-inch reach, so he's at a 1-inch reach disadvantage. Fletcher is normally a bantamweight. He came up to featherweight for the Ultimate Fighter, and now he, I guess, is staying at featherweight, or maybe just for this fight. We'll see. But look, my opinion hasn't really changed since the first time this was booked 2 weeks ago. I was on Ramaska. I played him at like plus 124 or something, and now I'm kind of looking at it like I kind of want a better line because I retaped it. I looked at it again, and Ramashka's a better striker. I got no doubt in my mind about it. He's much bigger. He's much more physical. He's going to have more power. He's going to have more output. He's going to be relentless. He's going to be in Fletcher's face. But his ground game is just so deficient. And Fletcher's a great grappler. He's a good wrestler. He's got great jiu-jitsu. And you watch Ramaska, and he can maybe defend some takedowns, but he's getting taken down a lot. And he's not really able to get up on his own. It's the referees stepping in and getting him back up for whatever reason. But he looks like a complete fish out of water on the ground. It's not a great look. He's young. Maybe he's improving. He's not really at a major camp, so I'm not sure how much that jiu-jitsu defense is going to, improve, how much that grappling defense is going to improve. And Fletcher is at a good gym with Next Gen, and he is a great grappler, like I mentioned. So Ramaska could be a good bet. I just think you need a better line. I would prefer something like plus 140, maybe a little bit better than that. Because if he keeps it on the feet, I think it's all Ramaska, And even if Fletcher gets a few takedowns, if he can just get back up, I still think he can win the fight. But if the takedown defense hasn't improved, if the get-ups haven't improved, and if Fletcher, is able to kind of overcome the size difference here, I think that he might cover the line and he might look like a significantly bigger favorite because if Ramashka's ground game looks the same as it has, Fletcher can come out here and pick up a sub in the first round. It wouldn't be crazy at all if that ground game hasn't improved. So I'm going to stick with my original pick with Ramaska. I'll bet him if it hits like plus 140-ish, but I think Fletcher also makes sense. I don't blame anybody on him. I think the sub line at plus 145 isn't great. I feel like you would want something better than that because Ramashka's tough. I can see him fighting out of positions, but yeah, I can't blame anybody for going for the minus 145. I think it's about accurate, but I like I said, I can see him covering and I can see him looking like a really big favorite if Ramaska hasn't improved on the ground. But we can move on. All right. Next up, we've got Andrade Petroski versus Dylan Budka. Petroski 11-3-0. He's 33, going to be 6 feet tall with a 73-inch reach. Budka 7-3-0. He's 24, so he's going to be 9 years younger. Same height, and Budka's at a 2-inch reach advantage. So I played Budka here at plus 270, and I love spots like this. It's just recency bias. There's no reason for this line to be the way it is, but people are so upset at Budka for losing their parlays that they're ready to call him terrible. I'm seeing people literally say that Budka is the worst fighter on this card. I mean, Brendon Marotte is on it. and he's not that bad either, honestly. But Budka is not the worst fighter on this card. It's not. It's a ridiculous statement, and you can tell who's an emotional bettor by listening to that kind of thing. And I'd bet 9 out of 10 times that someone saying Budka is terrible, that they had him last time, and they're very disappointed. But so far, I've had a pretty good run with both guys. Budka specifically, I played him on the Contender Series against Hanekom when everyone and their mom was going for Hanekom. I max bet Budka, cashed that. Then against Cesar Almeida, everyone was on Budka. I played Almeida real heavy, I think like 3.6 or 3.2 units, and cashed there. And now all over again, Petroski gets the win when no one believed in him, and I backed him against Fremd. Everybody was calling Petroski the bum, gassy, Fremd's going to knock him out. Cashed him there, and now everyone's running to bet Petroski, the same guy that they called gassy and not great. Now they're betting him at minus 300. Like, recency bias, it's a fantastic thing. I'm not saying Petroski shouldn't be the favorite. I'll get to the breakdown in a second, but the line's just pure recency bias, if you ask me. People lost on Petroski. Now they're believing in him because he won. People lost on Budka. His last fight was a loss, so now they don't believe in him anymore. And it's all over again. Now, in terms of the actual breakdown, right? So Petroski, he's going to be the better. I think he's the better offensive wrestler. I think so. And I do know that he has the better jiu-jitsu. I'm pretty confident in that. Like, if he gets it to the ground, he's got good control because of the jiu-jitsu. He's good at holding people down. He can take the back. He's good. He's very good on the ground. But the thing is, Budka's also a good wrestler. Maybe offensively he's not as great as Petroski, but I can see him getting his own takedowns. I think his takedown defense isn't bad. I think he can defend takedowns, and when he does get taken down, I do think he can get back up on the feet. And I don't think Petroski's like that much better of a striker. Like, it's probably pretty close. Maybe even edge Budka. I don't know. I don't really like the striking of either guy, but I think it's competitive on the feet. I think both guys can land takedowns, and one guy's gassy and the other guy's not. And then the gassy one is minus 300. So plus 270 on Budka to me made a lot of sense. I played it for a unit. I think he's more durable. I think that, like I said, his cardio is better. I think that he can get back up when he's taken down. I'm hoping he can defend subs, but at plus 270, that's a risk I'm willing to take. And yeah, that's really all it comes down to for me. Now, Glenn Bott over here saying who has the decision equity here, Andre or Budka? I mean, both guys. I think both guys are live to win a decision. I think we probably go the distance. And like I said, Petroski's a rightful favorite. So it makes sense to me that, he could win. And I do think he can win a decision if he's able to hold Budka down, use that jiu-jitsu, and not gas. But at the same time, I can see Budka surviving any kind of danger in the first round and then taking over. Like I said, I can see him having success on the feet. I can see him getting his own takedowns. And I think the cardio is better and he's more durable. So I can see him getting a decision as well. 6 Hound, I agree with you. Kind of crazy to see that, minus 300. Budka's so one-dimensional. Yeah, I'll give you that. Like, it's a little concerning. Not sure how Budka good enough to make Petroski gas. I mean, all you got to do is make him work. Fremd didn't make him work. Fremd got taken down, and that was the end of that. Budka's not going to just lay there. I'm pretty confident in saying that much at least. I don't think he's just going to lay there. I think that Budka can get back up and at least work to get back up. And I think that will make Petroski tired. And I do think Budka could push the pace. So, yeah, for me, it's a Budka spot at plus 270. The line is now, what is it? It's like plus 230, plus 250. I'm seeing plus 240. I think that's fine. I would have played that too. I would have played it even at plus 200, but nothing more than that, I don't think. Because after, yeah. Maybe I would have. Maybe I would have, but I'm glad I got the line I got. And I think that at least like plus 200, I think you could still play him. But we can move on. The reason I'm hesitant to say just plus 200 is because like I think he can win outright. Like, it wouldn't be crazy to me if they had opened it pick him. So yeah, plus 200 or better. I think Budka's a good spot. Moving on, we've got Jaqueline Amorim versus Vanessa Demopoulos. Amorim 8-1-0, 29. She's 5'3" to 68-inch reach. Demopoulos 11-5-0. She's 35, 5'2", so she's 1 inch shorter, and she's going to be at a 8-inch reach disadvantage. Not that it's going to matter a ton, because Amorim's not the type to stick and move and use that crazy reach advantage. Because if she did, I mean, that would be sick. 8-inch reach advantage at this division. I mean, you could pick someone apart, but she doesn't really do that. That's not really her style. And range striking isn't really in her skill set. So, I mean, neither of them are great strikers. Demopoulos probably has better output. I could probably trust her to throw more. The line seems a little bit crazy, and she does keep pulling off these decisions at like plus 300. So I can see why some people are tempted. If she can stifle the submission offense from Amorim, the thought process is maybe she can get some top time. Maybe she can outstrike her. And Demopoulos does hit hard. Maybe she can hurt her. I get it. The way I see it, though, I think the best play here is the Amorim sub. I was pretty surprised that they made it plus 300 again. I think that's what it was against McKenna, something like that. And it comes down to this. I mean, Demopoulos is strongest where? She's strongest on the ground. She can be taken down pretty easy. Her takedown defense isn't great. And she likes to take people down as well. And if she takes down Amorim is great off her back. If she doesn't sub her, I think she can sweep her and get on top herself. And Amorim's a pretty good wrestler, and I can see her getting her own takedowns. Not that it takes much to take Demopoulos down. And I think she can sub her if she gets her own as well. So, yeah, for me, it's Amorim. It's Amorim by sub. I played it for a half unit to win like 1.6 or 7, whatever it is. And I like it quite a bit. I mean, I can't get to the money line just because I can see the path for Demopoulos. Like, I don't want to lay minus 300 for Amorim just for her not to go for takedowns and then Demopoulos outstrikes her over 15 minutes. That would be a terrible thing to go through. But yeah, for me, it's a Amorim sub plus 325. I like it. I know that Demopoulos is also like a jiu-jitsu person. Like that's her thing. And that's where she's strongest, but I just don't think she's anywhere near the level of Amorim. You know, I heard the same kind of story with McKenna. Now that the money line was a bit different there, but everybody was saying McKenna's a great grappler. She's going to be able to defend the jiu-jitsu from Amorim, and she's going to win that way. We saw how that went. And I feel like it's going to go pretty similar here. So for me, it's a Amorim sub. We can move on. All right, this is a really fun fight, honestly. So here we've got Gabriel Santos versus Yizha. Santos 10-2-0, 27 years old. He's 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. Yizha 25, 4-0, 27 as well. Going to be 2 inches shorter, and he's going to be the one with the 1-inch reach advantage. Both of them at a great gym. Santos is at Shootbox. Yizha, he's at Team Alpha Male now, which is great. And it's an interesting fight. I think Santos is clearly the rightful favorite because he just has way more ways to win. He's the better striker. I think that's pretty clear. He's got more power. I think he's the only one here who's likely to get a knockout. And his grappling is also really good. Yizha, I know that jiu-jitsu is his thing, and it's going to be hard to sub him, but Santos probably can. And if not, his grappling is good enough at least to defend against Yizha. And I think he can outstrike him and get that win. Now, I do think there's some value there on Yizha. He's like plus 220 or so. And that seems a bit wide because, look, he's been improving a lot, too. Since his first time on the road to UFC, he's improved a lot. His striking has gotten a lot better. I don't think it's on the level of Santos, and I think Santos has way more weapons on the feet. But I do think his striking's improved, and I think he can use it at least to set up takedowns. And I can see him taking down Santos, holding him down, maybe threatening some subs. But I feel like that would be pretty hard against Santos and just winning minutes on the ground. But I don't think I want to play it. I'd need something wider just because for me, trying to think about the Yizha, like what that win looks like. And it looks like a really close, greasy decision where he got a lot of top control. And I just don't want to bet into that. So I'm going to wait. We'll see what happens with the line. I'm totally fine with passing. If something nuts happens and Santos becomes like minus 150, I could get behind that. But other than that, I'm probably just going to stay off. Yizha plus 300 could get me excited too. But other than that, I think it's a pass. Santos should win. I think Yizha is a very live dog. But yeah, I think it's a Santos spot more than likely. This card low-key has a lot of fun fights. Next up, we've got Andre Lima versus Felipe dos Santos. Lima's going to be 9-0 undefeated, 25 years old. He's 5'7" with a 67.5-inch reach. Santos 8-1-0. He's going to be 23, so he's 2 years older. Same height, but he's going to be at a 3-inch reach advantage. So this is another really interesting one because you got like skill versus just activity and activity. Lima, I think he's a little bit cleaner. Not a little bit. I think he's cleaner. I think he has more power. I think he hits harder. He cheats like his life depends on it, which, if you're backing him, it's a good thing until he loses a point. He hasn't lost a point yet, I don't think. So you're in the clear. But that could get a little scary if you do back him because, yeah, he does it a lot. But it's also a good thing. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. That's what they say. So, yeah, he's got the power edge and he's a cleaner striker. And he's a pretty good grappler, too. He's pretty well-rounded. I like what he does once he's on the ground. He just doesn't really wrestle much. And his own takedown defense isn't that great, but he's pretty good at getting back up and scrambling. Santos on the other side. Oh, but I did forget to mention Lima's big problem, the output, right? Santos on the other side. I like his striking, too. I don't think he's as clean. I think he's a lot more wild and a lot more hittable. Lima does a pretty good job maintaining the distance, whereas Santos doesn't care. He'll run right in. Classic shoot box. Defense comes last. He'll run in. He's very durable. He can take a punch, but I mean, eventually those chins crack. And I wouldn't be shocked if Lima's able to at least hurt him. Maybe not put him out, but hurt him and put him in a bad situation. But yeah, like I was saying, Santos' output is there. He's going to have a significant output advantage. I think he might have more tools because he's using those knees, the front kicks to the body, the teep, the elbows. So I think he's got more to offer on the feet in terms of just pure output and variety. And then, his wrestling is okay. He could maybe get some takedowns, but again, he also doesn't really go for it. And his own takedown defense isn't great either. But his jiu-jitsu, I think, is better than Lima's. I think he's actually pretty slick. The way he took, what's-his-face's back, Altamirano. He did not win that fight, by the way. But the way he took Altamirano's back was really cool. That was slick. And I just think he's got the jiu-jitsu edge. I think he has the output edge. And I think he has the variety edge where he has more weapons, but Lima's going to have the power. Lima's going to be cleaner, and Lima's going to be more defensively sound. So it really just comes down to if Lima comes out and throws more this time, actually shows some like urgency, yeah, he should comfortably win, I think. But if he doesn't, if he fights like he did against Raposo or Severino or like, I don't like to blame him for the Contender Series one because his opponent just refused to engage and just moved around and did nothing, and because of that is probably never going to sniff the UFC. But Santos is going to do that. Santos is going to go right into the fire. He's going to go right in. He's going to give Lima those counters that he wants and needs. But it goes both ways, right? Because he's not just going to wade into range. He's going to do stuff with it. He's going to constantly throw. He's going to constantly be in Lima's face. So I think Lima's the rightful favorite, but I think the line is getting pretty wide. It's plus 165 on BetMGM, and part of me wants to play it. Part of me thinks just wait because he's so bad defensively where it's pretty concerning because Lima's good. Lima lacks urgency, and that can be really stressful if you're betting on him. But at the end of the day, like I said, he's cleaner, more durable, I think, and hits harder. So I might want something better than plus 165. His leg kicks are also really good, and if he goes to the leg kicks early and often and Santos isn't checking those, that could really, that could make it harder for Santos to move forward. And if he takes away that, he's taking away the main feature of Santos's game, which is that forward pressure. If he can do that, then it's going to become a much easier fight for Lima, but we'll see. The odds are really tempting. I might end up getting there. Going to be a battle with myself of whether to do it now at plus 165 or pass for now and wait for a better line if it comes around. It might. I know people are going to come in, start parlaying Lima probably. Maybe I'll get a better Santos line. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of interest on him. I've seen a few people, but yeah, it's dog or pass for me in this one. Daz saying, pick 'em fight. I bet Santos. Love for Lima seems like hype. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if anyone's that hype on him. It's not like he's coming out here and just dusting guys and looking super impressive. He looks fine. Doesn't look like insanely special. He's just cleaner. He's just cleaner and hits harder. That's what it comes down to for me. But yeah, I'm thinking about that Santos spot. Moving on. We've got Isaac Dulgarian versus Brendon Marotte. Dulgarian 6-1-0, 28, 5'7" with a 71-inch reach. Marotte 8-2-0. He's 28, same age, 2 inches taller, 1 inch reach disadvantage for him. And it is worth noting he's coming down from 155 to 145. Maybe he thinks he'll be the bigger guy and that'll help him. But I mean, for a guy who doesn't have a great chin, I mean, Terrence McKinney knocking you out is fine. That happens to a lot of people. And that dude just hits insanely hard. I don't think that really means much about your chin. But even on the regionals, like he was getting hurt pretty often by guys who aren't very impressive and don't hit that hard. And then he's also getting taken down. That's what it really is. Like realistically speaking, just looking at it, Marotte's a better range striker. I feel like that's not really up for debate. Dulgarian's not good on the feet. He's okay at range. He's definitely not that great. And Marotte, he's a pretty good striker. And he's a young kid out of New England Cartel. That's their thing, striking. And he's a solid striker. It's just the fact that he can't keep this on the feet, I don't think. Dulgarian's going to take him down. And once he does, I mean, his ground and pound is just disgusting. So I feel like Dulgarian's going to get him down. Marotte will maybe land a few punches, but he'll get him down, and then Dulgarian will just maul him. Not really much you could do with it. I think he's officially set the record for the biggest favorite. If not, he's close. He's like minus 3,000. You know me. I made an argument for Dubin, which cashed, but I don't think I can make a good argument for Marotte. If I felt that his takedown defense was good, I think I could, because like I said, I think he's a better striker, but I don't think he can keep it on the feet. I think Dulgarian's going to take him down and maul him. Maybe I'll look at like round 2. If it's like plus 500, maybe throw like a quarter unit on it, because if Marotte can survive, that'll be great. You know, it doesn't always come in the first round. It does for Dulgarian usually. But at this level, it's probably going to start coming later and later. But I don't know if Marotte is really UFC level. So probably best to pass. Probably best to pass in this fight. Don't think we're going to see a crazy upset like we did with Dubin. All right, next up, we've got Rongzhu versus Chris Padilla. Rongzhu, 25-5-0, 24 years old, 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. Padilla on the other side, 14-6-0, 28, so he's 4 years older, going to be the same height, and he's going to be at a 1.5-inch reach advantage. So for me, I think Rongzhu should take this. I did parlay him up with Silva, who we're going to talk about later. Before she was minus 300, she was like minus 280. And I parlayed them at minus 110-ish for 2.2 units, something like that. And for me, it really comes down to this. Padilla's pretty decent. He's a good grappler. He has great jiu-jitsu, good wrestling. I'll give him that. But I don't like his striking. I think he's super hittable. I think he'd be knocked out. And Rongzhu's a great striker. He hits really hard. And I know people are really low on him because of his first UFC run, but he was like 22 or something. He was extremely young. And he's improved a lot since then. He's been looking really good. He's looked great on the road to UFC. I know now everybody hates Shin Horiguchi because he's not winning, so now he's terrible. But that dude's an elite wrestler. He might be undersized, but he's an elite wrestler. And Rongzhu did a really good job at defending the takedowns. When he got taken down, he got back up. And I just think he's going to stuff the takedowns of Padilla. I think that he hits way harder and is a way better striker. So I think he's just going to beat up on Padilla on the feet. Maybe Padilla gets a few takedowns. It could get a little scary, but I think Rongzhu's grappling, his counter grappling has improved a lot. And I think he's going to be able to survive anything Padilla does on the ground. And I honestly think he's probably going to knock out Padilla. I decided to just go with the parlay because I felt decent enough about Silva as well. And I'll talk about that soon. But that's what it is for me. I think it just really comes down to, can he keep it on the feet? And I think he can. And even if he's getting taken down, I don't really think Padilla subs him at a high clip. I mean, James Lontop just showed top level, terrible grappling defense. And I just don't think Rongzhu is that bad. I really don't. I think that he's improved a lot there. Even before, I don't think he was that bad. And I think he's going to defend the takedowns and just beat him up on the feet. So give me Rongzhu here. We can move on. This should be a comedy show of a fight. You got Trevor Peak versus Yanal Ashmouz. Peak 9-2-0, 29. He's 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. Ashmouz 7-1-0. He's 29 as well. A lot of guys who are the same age on this card. 5'9", and he's going to be at a 2-inch reach disadvantage. So, I mean, we all know Trevor Peak. God bless his soul. I mean, one of the only person in the UFC who's throwing standing hammer fists and kind of makes it work. Look, the guy isn't technical at all. He looked more technical in the Yaya fight, but I don't know if that was just because Yaya is absolutely horrible or if he's actually improving and getting more technical. I think it'll come to an extent, but certain people can't change their nature, and like you probably shouldn't. You know, it worked for you for a reason. And I feel like his aggressiveness and just his unorthodoxness is like what's been allowing him to succeed. But I do think he's cleaning up a little bit. We do see him grappling more now, which is kind of interesting. Didn't really expect that kind of wrinkle. He's primarily a striker, always has been. He's a knockout guy, but he's been wrestling a lot more. And, he's sloppy, extremely hittable, but at the same time, he's still pretty good. Like, I still think he's a pretty good fighter. Like, his striking's sloppy, but because he's so powerful, because he's so unorthodox, it still works for him. And now he's mixing in offensive grappling too, and it's a good wrinkle to add to your game. Ashmouz on the other side, he got that hype after he knocked out Patterson, which is so funny now looking back. Because this is at lightweight, but Ashmouz is he at least looks like a 145er, and he knocked out Patterson, who at 170 looks huge, and who's having a lot of success now. Can you imagine that fight now again, but at like 170? That would be so good. But look, Ashmouz is, I guess he's cleaner. Because he won't throw standing hammer fists, but I also think he's kind of like a sloppy striker, big overhand rights, decent jab, not really throwing clean combinations. You don't see him like going down the pipe with the 1-2s, mixing it up to the body. Not really his thing. He can wrestle. He's a good wrestler, but Peak is pretty hard. Like, Peak's not that hard to take down. I think he's relatively hard to take down, but I think he's hard to hold down as well. And I struggle to see Ashmouz landing takedowns at a high clip. I struggle seeing Ashmouz being able to hold down Peak. And on the feet, he's just not clean enough and not rangy enough where I think he's going to be able to like outwork Peak or outstrike him. I feel like Peak's going to be the one having all the big moments. I feel like Peak can also get his own takedowns here. And I feel like Peak's more likely to get a finish out of the two of them. So I have to favor Peak. I think the line makes sense where it's at right now. I'm not really dying to play him just because he's such a sloppy guy. But the line does make sense to me at least. What I did play was I played the over. I played the over 2.5 at -135. Now, it's a little scary knowing that Peak fights the way he fights and hits as hard as he does. And Ashmouz seems to hit pretty hard too. But at the same time, I think both guys are pretty durable and both guys grapple. So I'm hoping that kills the clock. I'm hoping their chins hold up when they are on the feet. And I think the over at -135 is a pretty good play. I don't know if it's still there. I'm going to check. It's -150 now, which I'd be a little bit less excited about. Fight goes is -130, so you could play that, I guess. Buying the extra the extra 2.5 minutes, but yeah, it's a little chalky now. It was like -115 originally. That would have been great if I could have gotten to it, but I like the -135. If it goes back down there, I think that's a good bet if you guys are tailing. But yeah, Peak and the over for me. I wanted to say something. That's why I just paused, but I forgot what I wanted to say. If I remember, I'll come back to it. But that's what I'm thinking there, and we can move on. Next up, we've got my guys are fighting. We got Matt Schnell versus Cody Durden coming in on short notice. Now Schnell, 16-8-0, 34 years old, 5'8" with the 70-inch reach. On the other side, Durden, 16-6-1. He's 33, so he's about 1 year younger. Going to be 1 inch shorter, and he's going to be at a 3-inch reach disadvantage. So I still stand by my assessment I've always had about Schnell. I think the dude is a top 5 fighter, if not for his chin. His boxing is very good. I think he's one of the best boxers in the flyweight division. I think that his grappling is also good. His wrestling is not the best in the world, but it's decent. And his jiu-jitsu is really good. So I just feel like if not for that damn chin, this is like a really, really good fighter in Schnell. But unfortunately in this game, you can't ignore the chin. It's real. I used to try to just ignore the chin narratives, but like they're not really narratives. It's kind of just a fact. And like Ursig is elite and a really clean striker, but he's not much of a power puncher. And I feel like Durden, while also not really a power puncher, he can knock people out if their chin's not great. He knocked out JP Buys, who also is a guy with a bad chin, knocked him out clean. So I feel like he probably can hurt Schnell. Now, outside of that, who's the better striker? I think it's Schnell. I think that's pretty clear. I think Schnell is a cleaner striker. I think he's a cleaner boxer. He's got the better hands. He's very fast. He mixes up targets really well. Durden's a decent striker, and it's improved to fight to fight to fight, and he looked great in his last one till he got finished. But I just think that Schnell is the better striker. And in terms of the grappling, though, it can get funky. It could definitely get funky because Schnell doesn't have the best takedown defense. So I think Durden, who is a very good wrestler, will take him down. And Durden has also got good jiu-jitsu. He's got a great back take. He's got good control. And I can see him taking down Schnell. I can see him holding down Schnell. I can see him taking Schnell's back. But then the concern at the same time is, Durden can be caught too. He got caught by Jimmy Flick with the triangle, and that's something Schnell could throw up. Schnell has great jiu-jitsu off his back. He is dangerous off of his back, and you got less of a chance of knocking him out there, so that he's more able to go and do his thing. So Durden makes sense. I'm not going to argue that he shouldn't be the rightful favorite. Not extremely. Why? Not even close. He's also pretty chinny, but more durable than Schnell. And a very good wrestler. Decent power where I do think he can hurt Schnell, and good jiu-jitsu where I think he can hold down Schnell, maybe lock in his own sub. So he's the rightful favorite, but the line seems pretty wide considering he's coming in on short notice. Schnell is a better striker, and Schnell is active off his back, and Schnell can sub somebody off of his back. So I can't get behind Durden minus 300. I really can't. If you're betting it because you think he's just going to knock Schnell out. And again, I think it's possible, but I think Schnell's live. I think he's live. I don't know if I'm going to bet it. I need to go sit down and think about it some more, maybe check it and maybe tape it a little bit more. Maybe look at what Schnell. I don't think props are out yet. They're not. The under 2.5. I don't know if they changed it on Bet Online because I'm seeing a second line popped up. Let me check. But the under 2.5 at I saw it was minus 180 earlier, but I would have played it at like minus 150, something like that. I would have played the under 2.5 just because both guys I think can finish. Like I said, I don't know why I even by accident said Durden's durable. He's not that durable. He can be hurt too. He's a little chinny too. And Schnell can hurt him, I think, and Schnell can sub him. And I think Durden can knock out Schnell, and I think Durden can sub Schnell. So that under makes a lot of sense if I can name 4 ways that it finishes, but it's pretty chalky, and I'm checking right now to see if they change it to 1.5 because I definitely don't have interest in a 1.5. Let's see. Yeah, they changed it. I think it goes over 1.5 more likely than not, but would I play it at minus 200 where it's at now? No, I wouldn't. Maybe DraftKings. I know they started putting up props. Let's see what their under is at. Let's do some prop shopping live on the show. Fight's not even up on DraftKings. I know BetRivers has props up for some fights on the main card. I don't know if they have this fight yet, though. Okay. Yeah, they have the fight, but they don't have a total. I'd lean under 2.5 if I can get a decent line. I think that's probably the best way to play this. Can we go over? Yeah, because of the grappling. But both guys are good finishers. Both guys have ways to win this fight and finish this fight. So yeah, I mean, I'll look at the under. I'll look at Schnell ITD. I know a lot of people are probably going to go straight for the Schnell sub prop, thinking along the lines of what I'm thinking, that he's good off his back and could probably catch Durden. But I wouldn't be shocked if he knocked Durden out either. Durden's a beast. I bet him in his last fight at Pick'em. But to make him minus 305 on short notice, I think that's a little questionable. My guy over here, MMA Kasanganu, saying maybe Schnell will have a better chin at 135. I think that's possible. But I don't know if it's the weight cut that was hurting his chin. I feel like that probably wasn't it. Maybe it'll be better now. And Durden really, he like I said, he hits decently hard, but he's not a crazy one-punch knockout guy. So maybe you're right, and maybe he's more durable here, which would make him a lot more competitive. Because like I said, I think he's a better striker, and I think he's just as likely as Durden to lock up a sub, if maybe not more. So yeah, it's Durden as a pick, Schnell or pass, but I think the best way to target is probably that under 2.5 at a decent price tag if you can get it. All right. Well, I was looking forward to talking about this one because right before the show, I found some crazy props. But we got Kyle Nelson versus Steve Garcia. Nelson is 16-5-1, 33 years old, 5'11" with a 71-inch reach. Garcia, 16-5-0. He's going to be 32, so he's 1 year younger. Going to be 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. So this is an interesting fight. Garcia's an animal, absolute beast. He's extremely aggressive, hits extremely hard, really good finisher, knocking down everybody. But he's not the most technical guy. He's a bit chinny. He's extremely sloppy, hittable, and those are all pretty big concerns. And I think if you have a decent chin and a lot of power, you can beat him. And Nelson, he's not like a one-punch knockout kind of guy, but he does hit pretty hard. And I do think that he can hurt Garcia. I do think he can knock out Garcia because Garcia is getting knocked down a lot. He's getting hurt a lot. He's been knocked out. And like I said, while he's really aggressive and a great finisher on the feet, you can't really call him a technical striker. And the counters are going to be there for Nelson. And if Nelson lands flush, he probably knocks out Garcia. And the other thing is, can Garcia keep up that pace over 2 rounds? We don't really know because he hasn't done it in years. And the last time he's gone over like a few minutes into the second round, he lost a decision to Pena. So that's a concern because Nelson's got decent cardio. Nelson at range is probably cleaner. He doesn't hit as hard, but he does hit hard and he's cleaner. I think Nelson's more durable. So if I had to bet a money line, it would probably be dog or pass just because everything I just said. While I can see Garcia getting Nelson out of there, I feel like Nelson's also pretty durable, and I could see Nelson surviving the first round and in the second round starting to take over by just landing cleaner on the feet. Maybe, I don't know if the takedowns will work. Garcia's got pretty good takedown defense, but maybe landing a few takedowns, maybe holding him up against the fence for a bit, try to get that explosiveness out of him. And I think Nelson is pretty live. I think he could do it by decision. I think he could do it by knockout. That said, I did find a prop I really like. A prop. And I don't know about really like, but I like the price. So Garcia, hear me out now. Garcia sub round 2 and round 3 on DraftKings, right? So round 2 is plus 4,000, which is better than market. And round 3 is plus 10,000, which is a lot better than the rest of the market. Bet Rivers, I think round 3 is like plus 4,000. Bet Online, I think it's like plus 38. On DraftKings, it's plus 10,000. I believe that converts to less than 1%. I think it's like 0.98 or 0.99%. And for the round 2, that's like what, 2.6, something like that. And look, I mean, is it super likely? No. Garcia doesn't really offensively wrestle, and he doesn't have like elite jiu-jitsu. But that said, I saw the blueprint in the Costa fight, and at odds like this, I don't see why you shouldn't take the shot, because you watch the Costa fight, right? Is he ever going to take down and get into full mount and sub Costa without hurting him there? No, he's not. But he can hurt guys. He can knock them down. He does it to almost everybody he fights. And if he knocks down Nelson and gets into full mount and he starts raining in that ground and pound, and he really hits hard on the ground. You watch him. I think it was Costa. He like hit the floor, like the mat, like 8 times, 10 times. But he's hitting so hard and he makes people show up. And when they start to show up, that rear naked choke opens up. And even Costa, who has really good jiu-jitsu of his own, he showed up and Garcia locked in the rear naked. Now, eventually Costa got back out and then Garcia finished it with the ground and pound. But I mean, watching that and thinking about it, if you think Garcia knockout at like minus 140 or whatever it is, if you think that makes sense, right? Then I'm assuming you think Nelson probably knocks him down. And if he knocks him down, what's stopping him from going into full mount? Nothing, right? So now we're in full mount, a position that can happen with Garcia. It has happened. Is it really a 1 to 2% chance that he subs Nelson at that point? I don't think so. I think there's a higher chance than that. So yeah, it's an extreme long shot, but you got to take advantage when books give stupid odds. And plus 10,000, plus 4,000, I think those are good spots, especially because look, I think a lot of that price is predicated on the bookies just not thinking that Nelson will make it out of the first period. But I think there's a good shot that he does. He's more durable than a lot of these guys that Garcia's knocking out. You look at who he's knocking out, right? Sungwoo Choi, chinny. Melky Costa, not really chinny, but he didn't do it till the second round. Shailan, I think he's a bit chinny. And I'm pretty sure that was in the second round too. Chase Hooper, God bless his soul, but he's chinny and extremely hittable. Machate, not super chinny, but he also didn't win that fight. I think he knocked Machate down, though, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, my point is that the guys he's finishing in the first are chinny, and I think that Nelson can survive. And then, yeah, and then it just goes into what I just explained earlier of how I think that sub can come around. So I'm going to take advantage of those odds. Took my shot, 0.1 unit on each. If he subs him in the second, I win 4 units. If he subs him in the third, I win 10 units. I'm in. I'm in. Garcia's the straight pick. But if you bet a money line, I think the value's on Nelson. Not just value, like there's a pretty clear path for him to win too. If he can survive the first few minutes where Garcia's going to hit the hardest, Nelson is the cleaner striker. I think everybody can agree on that. Garcia's not clean. He's not technical. He just has all the success because of how aggressive and powerful he is. But in terms of just straight technique, Nelson's better. Nelson's more tested in terms of the cardio. Nelson's, like I said, pretty durable, and he can mix in some grappling. So the money line for Nelson makes sense. I'm going to sit it out. I'm going to chill with my round 2 and round 3 sub props on Garcia, and I'm going to cheer for him. But that's all I'm going to have for this fight, I think. All right, next up, we've got our co-main event. We got Jessica Andrade versus Natalia Silva. Andrade, 26, 12, and 0, 32. She's 5'1" with a 62-inch reach. Silva, 17, 5, and 1. She's 27, so she's going to be 5 years younger, 3 inches taller, and she's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. These are usually the kind of spots where I go to bet the vet, prospect that everybody's super high on, super excited about. Large favorite over a tried and true, tested veteran. Usually I end up going with the vets at these prices, but I parlayed Silva at minus 280. Like I said, I parlayed her with Rongzhu for 2.2 units to win 2 units. And it really comes down to this. I feel like Silva's just a real deal. She's really, really good. Her striking is, I'd say her striking's elite. She's powerful, explosive, super clean on the feet, a lot of different weapons. She can grapple too. Not really the first thing she goes to, but she can grapple. And Andrade, well, she's still been looking pretty good, and she hits really hard, super aggressive, solid striker, can mix in the grappling as well. I think the chin's starting to go a little bit. She's taking a lot of damage. I didn't love how she looked in the Marina Rodriguez fight, and I had Marina there. I had Andrade there. And I just feel like Silva's going to be able to hurt her. I think she's going to be landing a lot on the feet. She's going to be a lot cleaner. I think her defense is also really good. I think she's going to stay safe, pick Andrade apart, possibly hurt her, maybe get her own takedowns. I just expect Silva to come out here and show that she's a real deal. She's probably real close to a title shot at this point, maybe 2 fights away. This fight, 1 more, and I think she's got it. And I think she has the skill set to be champ. So for me, it's Silva here. I think she can finish. So I wouldn't just say, like if you want to bet her, go for the decision. I think she could finish too. My original read, like pre-tape, was maybe like the over. But I honestly think that Silva can knock out Andrade. So for me, it's Silva. I parlayed her, like I said. Now it's minus 300. You're not that far out from what I played. So I can't knock it too much, but it's starting to get a little too crazy for me. But I think Silva should probably cover, honestly. I think at range she picks Andrade apart. I think she can get the finish, and the grappling might be there too. So, yep, that's what I got. Ooh, Daz, that's not a bad idea. Daz saying TKO round 3. Let's see what that is. Let's do some prop shopping. So Silva round 3 knockouts plus 1,200 on Bet Online. On Bet Rivers, let's see what we got. Plus 15 on Bet Rivers. And then DraftKings is going to have, let's see, plus 12. Yeah, I don't hate it. I might do that. I might take a shot on that too. A little sprinkle, just because I think that's live. Andrade is durable enough where I don't think it'll happen early, even though it can, because Silva is super clean. But yeah, I kind of like that, Das. I like my big numbers. I'll be checking that one out. Thank you for the look there. And my guy Tyler, what's up, brother? Make sure you guys are checking out 138 MMA one of the best in the game. Dude's awesome, really fun, and he's got a whiteboard. So can't beat the whiteboard. But let's move on now. Not much else to say for the co-main. Main event, we got Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady. Burns is going to be 22-7-0, 38. He's 5'10" at the 71-inch reach. On the other side, Brady 16-1-0. He's 31. He's 7 years younger. Same height, 1.5-inch reach advantage for Brady. Yeah, so I think I'm probably passing just because I can't understand where Burns is at. I can't tell. I don't know if he's washed or not. Against JDM, like, he looked decent. You know, he was able to out-grapple JDM, but anytime they're on the feet, he looked bad. Against Bilal, I had Bilal there, but Burns apparently was injured, so maybe that's why he didn't look that great. But again, the striking didn't look too great there either. And that's the kind of the issue here is I think he's a better striker than Brady, and I think he hits harder. But if he's getting washed and he's starting to really go on the downtrend, and if he looks like he did in the last few fights on the feet, Brady could be competitive. I hate Brady's striking. I don't think he's a good striker whatsoever. He doesn't have any power on the feet. He's super basic. He strikes in these flurries that are not effective and very easy to counter. He's hittable. And he's just very dependent on getting the takedowns. He's a grappler. He's a really good wrestler. He has really good jiu-jitsu. He's got really good control. But on the feet, Burns, even washed, I feel like Burns is better. And I feel like Burns hits harder. Now, it comes down to the grappling, right? Now, with Burns, we don't really know what he looks like off his back because no one even really wants to do it. When Khamzat took him down, he felt it for a second and he let him back up. He didn't want to do it no more. Burns is, he's elite. He's an elite guy on the ground. He's a very high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner. I'm pretty sure he's normally like gi, though, so maybe doesn't translate that well to MMA, but he's getting subs here and there. He subbed Magny real quick in the first. Now, do I think he's going to sub Brady? No, I don't. But do I think that he can threaten stuff and make Brady maybe a little bit nervous about taking him down? Yeah, I think he could do that. And he could at least stay safe. I don't think Brady's subbing him for sure. So it really comes down to, like, can Burns keep it on the feet? Because if he can, even if he's starting to get washed, I think he could beat Brady. Maybe if he even gets his own takedowns, but Brady seems relatively hard to take down. And I could also just see Brady being able to take him down and control him. I really don't know with Burns off his back. I haven't seen it much. Nobody really has. So I'm not sure. If Burns is really active off his back, yeah, I mean, Brady might let him back up like Khamzat did. But if he does that, then what? Because Khamzat at least felt like he could strike with them and knock him out. I don't think Brady's going to ever get that feeling because Brady's just not a good striker. And now the bigger issue, the real issue here is the cardio, right? Brady doesn't have great cardio. He slows down. We've seen him look real bad in third rounds. In the third round against Chiesa, he did not look good. He's getting picked apart in the feet by Chiesa, of all people. Against Bilal, I mean, that was the end of the second, but Bilal was just in his face. And if Burns is in his face, he might be able to break him earlier too. And Gastelum just didn't bring the fight to him at all. So he didn't really show me much there in terms of cardio. And then now we have a possible fourth and fifth round, and I don't think Brady subs him, and I don't think Brady knocks him out. So if I'm backing Brady, I'm praying that he can go 4 and 5 rounds, and I don't know if he can. I don't know if he's going to just fall off a cliff. He very well might. He's only 31, which isn't super young, but not really old either yet, just probably about in his prime. But I don't know how much more he's going to be improving in the cardio and striking departments. So it's Burns or pass for me because realistically, where is Brady better than him? Only the offensive wrestling. Burns is more powerful. Burns is better striking. Burns is probably the better jiu-jitsu practitioner, just purely jiu-jitsu. And yeah, and he's got the better cardio. So Brady only really beats him in the offensive wrestling. And then you're praying he can just hold him down and not get subbed, which he possibly can. But is he really going to do his own damage? Is he really going to threaten subs where judges really like score it? He might not. So for me, it is Burns or pass. I don't know if I'm going to do it because I just don't like how he's looking at 38 now. But for all the reasons I said, it is Burns or pass for me. And that's all I got, guys. That's all I got for you. That is 13 fights. I'll run through it real quick. I'll go through what I already bet, and then we'll hop on out of here. First fight, I'm going to go with Ramaska. Second fight, I'm going with Budka, and I did bet him at plus 270. Amorim Demopoulos, I'm picking Amorim, and I played her by sub. Santos Yizha, I think Santos should win. I think there's some value on Yizha, but I don't know if I want to do it. Lima Santos, I think Lima should win, but I think Santos is a pretty good underdog, and I might get there. Dulgarian Marotte, Dulgarian. Rongzhu, I think, beats Padilla. I lean peak over Ashmouz, but I bet the over 2.5. Schnell, Durden. We'll see. We'll see. I guess Durden as a straight pick. Nelson Garcia. Garcia is the straight pick, but I'm going with Garcia round 3 and round 2 sub. Andrade Silva. Silva's the pick, and Burns Brady. I can't pick Brady just because Burns is washed. If I think Burns is better everywhere, so I'm gonna stick with Burns. That'll be the pick. I don't know if I'm gonna play him, but that's where I'm at. And let me see real quick. Tower saying Brady was able to neutralize Craig Jones in the grappling, but you have a point about damage. Yeah, I mean, but Craig Jones also didn't have like the rule set that he's used to. You know, like in that situation, he's probably going for the legs, and he wasn't allowed. Now, is Burns the same? I don't really know. You know, it's a fair point. Realistically, I don't think Burns subs him. I mean, I did say that. I don't think Burns subs him. But out of the two, I think I lean. Like, if you told me one person did get a sub already, I would lean Burns. But again, I don't think it comes either way. I think Brady probably can get that control, but then like you noted, like, is he going to get the damage? Is he going to actually threaten submissions and score? Or are Burns' moments on the feet going to be enough to get it done? So that's what I'm thinking. Kiarix, my guy, thanks for tuning in, saying, Mike, are you laying 30 units to win 1 on Dulgarian? 60 units to win 2. Nah, I'm kidding. I would never. If you guys know me, you know I really would never. Yeah. Only way I'd think about Dulgarian is maybe like a round 2 prop, depending on what they give me. Or round 1-2, if it's something like, I don't know. I guess I'd play like minus 150 for a 1-2 prop, which I normally wouldn't, but in this particular situation, I would. But I highly doubt they're going to give that to me. I'd be very surprised. And that's it, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. In terms of other content, I'll put out my shorts tomorrow. I should have some interviews lined up for tomorrow. Got to follow up with the fellas. And there's a lot of regionals. Realistically, not going to be able to put out any videos. But if you're in the Discord, which you should be because it's free, and that's where I put all my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, and we talk a lot of MMA in there all day, every day. If you're in there, you'll get all my bets as soon as I make them. So if I make any plays on the regionals, that's where they're going to be. I do have one play right now on Bellator. I played the over 4.5 in the main event at minus 160. I like that spot a lot. I played it to win 1 unit, so I risked 1.6. And it just comes down to 2 extremely high-level guys going at it, and I don't think they're going to finish each other. So rather than picking a side and parlaying Usman or laying a unit on Shabali, I just went with the over instead, and I'm pretty happy with that one. And if I had any other regional bets, like I said, those would be on the Discord. And all my UFC bets are already up on the Discord. I could feed those to you guys real quick. Budka plus 271 unit. Silva Zhu parlayed minus 108, 2.2 units. Peak Ashmouz over 2.5, minus 135 to win 1 unit. Amorim sub plus 325, half unit. Garcia sub round 2 plus 4,000, 0.1 units. And Garcia sub round 3 plus 10,000, 0.1 units. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace out and good luck.